Welcome everybody to both sides of the conversation. I'm John Henry, Executive Director, and today's host. Y'all know what time it is. It's our Hidden Gem Show. I'm always excited on a Tuesday because this is the good stuff that's happening. Today we get to bring on some amazing organizations, folks that are doing some amazing things to impact community. And y'all know every Hidden Gem Show, it's really about uplifting those Black and brown businesses and those people that are doing amazing things to impact community. It's so much going on, and you all that know we switched our scheduling to monthly scheduling. So it's been like some gaps in information of what's going on, but we all know as we stay connected to our social media platforms, we try to keep up to date with all the information that's going on in the community, as well as the news events that are taking place to make sure that our folks get the information. So there's been a lot going on, a lot to talk about, a lot that I'm excited about today because I think we have three amazing hidden gems today, and we have two guests that are using the arts to really impact community. And I think it's very important. We can't forget about the arts culture, and the expressions of arts and how it impact and change the narrative in our community, and sometimes awaken us to things that we don't always get to see highlighted. So I'm excited about that. We have the Juneteenth weekend celebration kickoff this past weekend. As you all know, across the Bay Area, there was events everywhere. Folks are still in that freedom celebration mode. We have Thursday coming up as the actual holiday. A lot of folks are off. A lot of folks are still having to work. And I just hope everybody took an opportunity to sink in and appreciate some of the struggles, some of the things that community has overcome, to continue to highlight the work that is happening in our community. So very powerful stuff as we step into this next week and we get to closing out this month. There's a number of tragic budget cuts that are going to be impacting community organizations and some of the folks in our community. There's massive layoffs happening. A lot of folks have got notices. Cuts are happening in July 1st, and more incidents are happening of layoffs and things of that nature. So it's going to be a time for us to be unity building and making sure that we are sharing information for folks, for opportunities. Please check out our both sides of the conversation social media handles. We have been uploading all of our community announcements there. There has been some formatted change. We do listen to the community, getting these shows going. Folks talked about the length of all of the news and announcements and stuff that was going on. So we've created a new way to get the news and announcements out, the job opportunities out on our platform. So make sure you check us out on Facebook, Instagram, or any one of our social media handles, TikTok. We on all of them. And see what's going on with the community announcements. There's some job announcements. There's some other announcements for community events and just some of the things that are taking place in community. We want to make sure that folks stay connected, and we want to continue to do our part to help bring community and folks together. With that being said, there's a lot in the news. As you all know, there's been a kickoff of conflict with Israel and Iran. As you all know, there's been missiles and bombings and things happening that's impacting those folks over there. So we just want to keep all of those folks, all parties in our prayers. Again, these type of tensions and issues impacts us all. These bombs going off, it's coming in the air somewhere. It's going to impact us. So crazy times that we're in, but be mindful of what's going on. And, we're going to keep those folks in our prayer. Also, around the community, as you all know, COVID. Okay, it's starting to be an uptick in COVID. I know some folks ain't paying attention to it. I'm seeing it at the hospitals. A lot of folks are starting to be impacted with COVID again. So I want to make sure that we as community start to do the pre-stuff that we didn't have the opportunity to before. We know what COVID is like and what it could do to devastate a community. So let's be intentional, community, to make sure that we try to social distance, try to wash our hands, and be mindful of the folks and stuff that we are around, because it is happening and it's spreading again. And they saying this new little numbers is going around pretty good. A lot of folks have been infected, and it's hitting folks hard. Also, July 1st, there's a lot of new California laws going in place. We're going to do our part at both sides of the conversation to make sure community gets the updates on a lot of new laws that's been passed. Some folks might be aware of some of the changes that's going to impact community, but we want to make sure that we get that out so folks are up to date of what's going on. And there's a number of important laws that change that's going to impact community heavily, and we want to make sure that everybody is aware. Also, Also, we got a little minor heat wave coming out through the East Bay today, San Francisco across the Bay. It was beautiful out there. Nice to see the sun out with all of the celebrations and folks coming off the Juneteenth weekend. It's great to see the change in weather. It's warming up for the folks in the East Bay where it's a little bit warmer, 90, 100 degrees. Make sure that we're checking on our elders, checking on our family members who need support. Make sure we get them to the cooling centers. Make sure you call your air conditioning people before the big heat wave and do your maintenances and get all your stuff ready. And be proactive. Make sure you guys stay hydrated out there and watch your pets. For all y'all pet-friendly folks, make sure your pets are in the house, staying cool because it is some warmer temperatures out there in the East Bay. All right, with that being said, okay, we're going to get going with tonight's Hidden Gem. Y'all see how quick that was? Usually the announcements, we be going on and on for an hour. We're going to get right to it with our Hidden Gem segment tonight. I know there was a number of birthdays and folks out there. I just want to uplift all of those amazing folks and say happy birthday to all of the folks. This is Men's Health Month as well as mental health, and I want to continue to support the Black male movement out there. When we talk about health and wellness, it's so important, and I know some of our guests will talk about the importance of that tonight, but we want to make sure that we continue to uplift the fathers. I know this was a great Father's Day weekend for a lot of folks. I had a great time myself. But again, Father's Day is every day. We want to continue to do our part to uplift the fathers of our community and make Father's Day every day. And for the folks and the fathers who didn't get the support or didn't get the acknowledgement, we want to still uplift you and say, hey, next year, we want to make it right for you. Get out there, do the things you need to do to change so that you could be a part of the celebration with your children and family. All right, with that being said, we're going to go ahead and bring up our first Hidden Gem tonight. She is an executive director. She's organizing, and this is what it's all about. We always talk about how does the grassroots organizations work? How do we lift and move people? Tonight, we have a phenomenal doctor that's going to come on here and talk about the Black student movement and some of the things that they are doing across the state. So without further ado, I would like to bring up Dr. Angie Barfield. Welcome to both sides of the conversation, Queen. Nice to see you here today.
How you doing?
Yeah, great to have you here. I want to give you the opportunity to talk about the organization, what you're doing, and let you know what the BSU is about, and how you impact the community, and what support you and what you're doing.
Okay. I'm sorry, John. I think it got muffled. I couldn't hear what you asked me. So do you want to ask me the question one more time?
Can you hear me now? Can you hear me now? We're going to be like Sprint Verizon. All right. No, I was asking basically let the community know what you're doing with the BSU, how it impacts community, what events you guys have coming on, how the community support some of the things that you're trying to do with this BSU to take it not only here, but locally, but beyond, and how we can help organize the young people for the future.
Got it. Well, good evening to everybody, and thanks for having me. I am the executive director of Black Students of California United. So what the BSCU does is our work is to revive Black student unions in high schools and middle schools across the state of California. So currently we're at just over 200 schools statewide. And we actually have 5 elementary schools that we're piloting. So, organizing young minds, it has to start much earlier than, getting to high school. Excuse me. So our work really is set on empowering our young people. A lot of my research and work that I've done has shown that once Black students, brown students too, know their history and culture, they perform at a much greater level and they walk with a different swag, right? They can sit in these spaces and be like, yeah, no, that's a lie, things like that. So we really work hard to cultivate excellence in our young people and get them to collaborate with one another across the state, because at any given time, and we know all of our kids, most of them, we want them to go off to college, we want them to get, a higher level of education. They can end up on campuses together. So what better way to step on a campus knowing that, hey, I know this person, or I know how to build a relationship with somebody that looks like me. Because a lot of times our kids, they go through that imposter syndrome, but, that doesn't work, and it doesn't work well. So our goal is to impact as many high school campuses, middle school campuses as we possibly can to build relationships and build coalitions of young people so that they understand, one, their culture, two, civic engagement, and three, health equity. So that, because you were just talking about COVID is on an uptick. We have health ambassadors that could take on campaign work and really talk to their peers via social media, because that's where they all, go to. So yeah, BSCU is, it's been a blessing. We've been around since 2016 doing this work. Proud to say that one of your gems from San Francisco, soon to be Dr. Tashelle Heron Lane, is on our board. So yeah, she's my boss. So I had to shout her out because I don't want to get fired. So so yeah, we really are about organizing. We're working with people, especially in these times where they're trying to erase our history, remove us from libraries, and just slowly but surely erase. Our job now, more than anything, is to get our young people to realize that you got to know who you are and where you come from before you step into some of these spaces.
Right. And I think that's so powerful that you brought that up, with the eradication of history and information that's happening across the country with this administration currently. I think it's so important that we get the young people engaged, but one of the challenges that we have, and I always bring this up, is I think there's a lot of young people who want to be civically engaged. They want to get involved. But some of the pushback that young people have is our elders. Sometimes our elders don't want to pass the torch, or they feel like, hey, we're trying to get involved to do our thing, but the elders won't let us do it. I've been talking about this for the last few years of like, how do we bridge the gap to make our elders feel like they are still part of the movement and moving with us. But how do we get them to know that it's okay, that we're not going to leave them behind, so that the young people could take the step forward to do the things that they need to do. And I know the historic value. I talk to young people, and there is a difference in ideology and thinking from our young people today about how the historic movement took place with the civil rights movement to what they feel is the future movement. How do we get that balance, or how do we get the young people and the elders to get aligned to move forward? Because I think civic duty is a very important part of shaping our future and getting our young people to be a part of these unions, to understand their roles and how to be presidents and how to, politic and run for office and things of that nature, because we're missing that in our community. And I'm so happy that you all are doing it. And shout out to Tashelle. She's always trying to empower youth and put them together, because we need this now more than ever. Our young people are feeling discouraged. They don't want to be a part of the civic process. They don't feel like their voices is heard. And I think this is the time. But I think there's an alignment that needs to happen with some of the folks in the community. How do we have this conversation, and how do we uplift the youth voices?
So it's funny. So the theme for 2024-2025 was breaking barriers and building strong bridges. And that really stemmed from our young people saying, as much as we think we know, we don't know enough. And we need our elders and those that are, that wisdom, we need it in order to move on. There's the proverbs that you can only go as far as, what is it? If you want to go fast, go alone. But if you want to, I don't know, you know what I'm trying to say. But anyway, it's about bringing the community together, right? And it starts with communication. I remember when COVID hit. So in March of 2020, the BSCU was in San Francisco. That's when the boat was off the shores, that cruise ship, and they weren't letting their people back on. We were in San Francisco as an organization because we were hosting our conference at the time there. So we got to see firsthand how this thing can devastate, right, our community, and how we all had to be a part. However, when we came out of COVID, if you think about it, John, the kids came out ahead of the game because they spent a year and a half locked away with computers. And all the grown-ups were still sitting at home whining about why we got to be here with just this, why we can't do it. We lost something. And so when the kids hear us talk, we're not talking at the level that they are. But we got to respect, as the elders, right, that there's some place we have not yet been, and they know things we don't yet know. Period.
So so that's an interesting point, because I think that's the roadblock in our community. And I think that's what's holding up our community. So this fear of the unknown, of like where AI is taking us, where automation is taking us, right? It's this level of hands off from some of the elders in the community. They don't want to go so fast in the technology, but we're in a system right now where we are being propelled into this AI consciousness is starting to arise, right? This transition of digital currency. So I understand the fear of our elders, but I also respect the innovation and the excitement of the young people to move into where we going. And I had a young man tell me, "Hey, John, I understand what my mom and them is talking about, but if I don't get ahead of this technology curve, if I don't get ahead of this digital currency curve, we're going to be left behind. We already behind." Right. When we talk about the digital divide, what it did in COVID too is also expose some of the ugliness of the technology divide between the black and brown communities versus a lot of communities. Right. So we did have some kids who advanced and was able to adapt, but we had some folks who in our community didn't have access to Wi-Fi, didn't have computers, didn't have certain things, and it kind of exposed some of the deficiencies and some of the areas that really impact us. And coming out of this, all right, now we at this point of folks being forced back into the workforce, folks coming back to social engagement. We have lost a lot of young people to that social engagement. And I talked to some parents and they said, "Hey, my kid is not socially engaging, it's just kind of home on a computer and not getting there." So we have to retune it, but we have to beef it up. So with that being said, with you being the helm of the leadership, working with all these phenomenal educators and folks, I know you guys are pushing this program across the state, and you all are trailblazing it. But what's the vision? How do you all see this moving forward as for educators, as for schools? Because there's definitely in a lot of our public schools a gap, right, with our young African-American students. And, when we talk about advocacy at the state level, dealing with the state superintendent and folks like that to make policy change. And we talk about the curriculum, right? These kids are talking about school is boring. I can't adapt to this. I'm not learning, right? How do we use the BSU in this model to really move the political realm to push change when it comes to our curriculum, because I think there is a shift right now. And I agree with some of the young people that there is an educational shift that needs to happen when we talk about the literacy and how the education information is being presented out through a day and what young people need to make it and thrive in this country. I think is very important in the conversation that need to happen, because right now, when you talk about Black and brown students and you look at the reading levels and you look at some of the things of our 12th graders, it's disappointing. And, at the end of the day, nothing against our educators. They're doing the things that they could do. But with all of the trauma, the things young people deal with, family dynamics, environmental issues, and things of that nature, we have a real issue in our educational system. How do we fix it? And how do your organization and what you all are doing to organize young people move this forward?
So, boy, that's a lot. Let me unpack this one. So first and foremost, we have to get our students, or we call them scholars, because that's where we come from as a people, right? We are a scholarly people. So we need to impose or impress upon our young people the importance of education, right? They don't understand that education came from us, right? We were the culture, we were the people that educated the world before the world even had any type of form, right? The other side of it is when it comes to public school, and this is the education part, is getting our kids to understand that the public school system in its original form was offered up and proposed by Black people. Unfortunately, some folk got a hold of it all and messed it all up. So now we're continually on the backside. So this is what I encourage. And I know Tashelle and a lot of the community groups that are there in San Francisco, it's reading in the community, right? We got to become literate. right? We have to promote literacy. The other side of it is the math, right? Our kids, yes, they're struggling with math, but I'm a firm believer that it's how math is taught that impacts how Black students learn. So, yeah, when they're telling you they're bored, they're basically telling you, yeah, give me something I don't know. It's not that they don't want to. They're just like, yeah, that I know that. What's next? What's next? I would love to see our kids taking classes on stock market, right? Understanding the ups and the downs and the ebbs and the flows, understanding that just because it goes up doesn't mean you're making money. And just because it goes down, it doesn't mean you're losing money, that there's stuff in between. There's all these different things, but it's about building trust. These young people trust each other more than they trust an elder or somebody in their community. And that has to be fixed because when I was growing up, it was the elders that kept us and held us and pushed us, right? And I think that with BSCU, what we're trying to do is give young people, they always say, if they don't give you a seat at the table, bring a folding chair. We don't want them to bring folding chairs. We want them to say, hey, just come on, give us what you got, right? Tell us what's happening in your neck of the woods so that we can work with you to come up with something to make it better. Understanding policy that you brought up. We start at the local level. So we're asking the kids, hey, have you sat in an LCAP meeting? Do you even know what LCAP is? Do you understand what LCAP does? Right? If you don't go to a meeting, you're not going to be on, it's not going to matter. They're going to move beyond you. So what we're doing when you're talking about the civic engagement side of it is giving them that exposure to how it all begins, understanding the policy, going to a school board meeting, asking them, speaking up for yourself, letting them know what's happening, put it on the record. Like we got kids now, it's like document. They doing stuff for you at school, document. When it was, date, time, who, when, what, whatever. Because until our kids understand that it doesn't matter what you say, it's really about what you do that matters. Can you imagine if those kids in San Francisco came together and like, enough is enough? We're not taking this anymore. This is what's happening to us. Here's our documentation. You can't mess with that, right? So, we have a youth leadership council. We have health ambassadors. We have senators, and they're working in their communities and outside of their communities to ensure that these things are done. We're meeting with Tony Thurman, right? We have relationships with these people. That's the building relationship. But I tell you right now, and I promise you, John, when Gavin Newsom hears Black Students of California United, or he hears Dr. Angie Barfield's name, they know we coming. You know what I'm saying? So, but that was the whole vision of the founders of this organization. So Ms. Deborah Watkins, Ms. Jacqueline McFadden, Mr. Angelo Wilson, Dr. Angelo Wilson, he's executive for First Five. So it's there. So civic engagement more than ever right now is the most important thing. Our young people are getting registered early to vote, so that they understand, so they're paying attention and we keep it in front of them. So I just tell our elders, I know they say, young folks just sit down and be quiet. But now more than ever, we need to listen to our young people because they got some insights that'll blow your mind. So,
Man,
and they can change communities.
Man, all I can say is I gotta blow up the spot for that, Dr. Angie. You here blowing up the spot. That's what it's really all about. And I'm glad that you highlight. And I think the young people are the future. They are the wave. And yes, we're going to have to let these young people know that they are empowered and they have the voice. I've been saying it, so I'm happy, Dr. Angie, you and Deborah Walker, shout out to her. She's a phenomenal educator that's always pushing young people in the Black community forward. And it's a list of other ones that I just say I'm so grateful to have them. But we are in a struggle, a fight with Black educators. We got to get them back committed too. So much politics and cuts and things happening. Folks are losing focus. We got a lot of trauma in our community. So I know as an educator here at both sides of the conversation, we always try to uplift our educators. You talk about a job. I always tell people, you go deal with these young people for a few hours. They'll run you under the desk if you ain't ready. But they also recognize the folks who care about them, who invest time in them, and make sure that they're on the right path. And it sounds like your organization, what you are doing, is pushing California forward. And we hope this model that you all are putting out will spread across the country, as our young Black folks need to get civically engaged. We are the only community, I say this all the time, who are behind the 8 ball when it comes to the civic engagement and getting our young people to mobilize and be part of the civic process and ahead of the policies and politics that impact our community. And we have to do a better job. So many other communities are passing the torch to young people faster, making sure that they get the information and things of that nature. But we have to do it here. And it looks like this is a great start to move our community forward. So I want to say personally, thank you for being a trailblazer, being the visionary of this, and working with amazing folks like Tashelle and Dr. Watkins and all these amazing folks. I want to see this change, and I told Tashelle before, like, until we get a real curriculum change, the racial and racist stuff that we see in the text and the information, it has to be weeded out. And there's some new things that has to be changed because I see it time and time on social media and different platforms where our educators, when we get to do the things that we need to do, we could brilliantly teach our young people math, STEM, in ways that it can't be taught. And I always tell the young people, like, you all did this. This is your ancestors. We was the engineers. We was the geniuses. We was the mathematicians. And we just have to get back to it. So I'm so happy for you pumping that information back in them and letting them know and uplifting their spirits and getting them part of the process. We must continue anything that we can do here to help support and uplift it. We want to do that. But yeah, if there's any last parting words or information that you want to get out there, any rallies or anything coming up, are ways for folks to connect. Definitely let's talk about those now. And then if you want to uplift any folks before we get out of here today, I definitely want you to give any shots out to folks you work with, because folks will see you on here and say, oh, you was up there talking, you forgot about me. I was there through the process. So make sure you show some love to some of the people that's been working side by side with you.
Absolutely. Thank you for having me. I would ask the community that, right now, many Black-led organizations are really struggling because of these federal executive orders that are coming out. Our schools are basically being told that they support Black students specifically, they could lose funding. And so organizations like ours, are taking hits, but luckily we have some additional funding where we are not going to fold. So I'm just asking the community to stand 10 toes deep with these organizations that have been doing the work on behalf of Black and Brown children to ensure that they stay around, because many of them have disappeared. So get your students involved. If your child's school, ask them, is there a Black student union here? If they say no, demand that one be formed. If they say, well, we don't know how to do it, have them come see us. We have all of that information, and we only charge $150 for a high school for a group of kids to come and get this information, and we also support the educator. On the other side of it, I'm going to ask the community to hold your school districts accountable, because they're about to try to forget about us and our kids. And so if we're doing the work on the inside, we need the community to pound the doors and the windows on the outside. You see what's happening. Please show up for your kids. We're about to relive the civil rights era. Our babies weren't built for that, right? They just were not. So they're going to need us to be on our best. The other thing is, if you have your elders still in your home or in your community, please impress upon your children to sit at the feet of these elders and listen. Because our elders and our ancestors left us with a blueprint to help us get through this next 3.5 years. We have to go seek the knowledge in order to know how to get through it. At the end of this chaos that this orange man is about to do, we will come out on top. Because I'm wearing a shirt that our kids did. It says, our culture is more than a trend, right? We're not a TikTok, Instagram trend. Our culture has carried this country for a very long time. So we have to embrace that and live that and be all of that in order for us to be excellent. So just continue to support these organizations. Support us, please. Send us your babies. We're in replanning right now, so it's summertime since school is out. But we've got, we're actually partnering with Fresno State. September 13th, Fresno State football team is playing Southern University. Yeah, so we got an HBCU game coming. I think you guys have one the weekend before in Berkeley. So those games, take your kids, let them experience the best of us, right? And just follow us on social media. All of our handles are at Black Student CU, and you can see what we're up to. Engage with us, support us, share us with other people, because we want to support our kids and we want to support the community. So thank you to my executive board, our board president, Mr. Adney Mack, the rest of our board, Carmela Smith, Tara Hawthorne, Vince Bailey, Dr. Mariana Harris, Miss Mickey Turner, and of course, the San Francisco Gym herself, soon to be Dr. Tichelle Heron Lane, and our funders, the California Endowment and the Stewart Foundation and California Black Freedom Fund. If you guys are trying to find something to engage in about Black power building, engage with the California Black Freedom Fund so that we can do what we have to do to empower our communities and our kids. So it has been a pleasure to be with you all. Please reach out, go to our website. If you have a question or anything, I am available. I love Black people. I love our community. And let's just stay empowered, keep our head up, stay encouraged, and we got this thing.
That's what's up. Hey, there you have it, community. You can't get it no better than that. To all of our educators out there, Dr. Angie Barfield, information is running across the screen. Please reach out. We need all of our educators. I know folks been through that long school year. They try to relax to get away from it. But as we come back this fall, let's organize. Let's get our young people motivated. Let's get our staff and educators motivated to make a change, because like you said, we're going to need it through the next, not just 3 years, but the next 10, 12 years ahead. And these young people are worth it. We must invest in our young people and elders, all my elders out there. Hey, sit back and listen to the young people. Give them opportunity. I'm always fighting for my young people. All the elders out there, it is time. We must pass the torch. We must give our young people an opportunity to lead. And again, I'm gonna keep pushing it, because every Martin Luther King birthday weekend, every major holiday, I'm tired of these elders taking up the mic. I want to hear from some young people. Don't tell me these young people don't know about Martin Luther King. Don't tell me these young people cannot speak. I'm tired. I'm getting to a point where I don't even want to go to events no more. I'm like, if y'all don't got a list of young people speaking, I don't want to go.
Well, before I forget, our youth president, her name is Kailani Griffin. You guys keep your ears open. That young lady is about to change some things. She's our youth president. I'm gonna tell you, if you just listen to them, I'm just telling my elders, just listen, y'all. You'd be surprised. It's a win-win if we come together. It's a win-win.
Definitely. And I'm going to always promote that. We got to get that bridge built between our young people and the elders community. We can do this. We are a resilient community, but we must be intentional. We must be focused. We must plan ahead. We can't just be reactive if we want change to happen. Well, again, thank you, Dr. Angie, for coming in today, speaking up on the BSU, and we're here to support you. Any events you have or any documentation you need us to help get out to the community. Young people, parents of young people, if they enter in high school, enter in middle school, let's start talking about these opportunities to organize, because we're going to need it. We need grassroots. We need young people to get involved with this civic duty. We need youth council. We need folks part of the board of supervisors at the youth level, so their voices could be heard. With that being said, again, Dr. Angie, thank you. You're always welcome to come back. If you got any information, anything upcoming that community need to know about, please reach out to us, and we'll make sure that we get that out to the community.
Thank you, John. Have a great evening.
All right, have a great evening. Wow, there you have it, community. When we talk about Black excellence, you all see it. We have some folks who care about our young people. We have some as we call trailblazers, people that are moving our community forward, and she's doing her part. And that's what it's all about. Get involved. We can't just sit on the sideline and complain about the schools, the curriculum, and what's going on if we're not involved. Okay, it's very important that we all stay engaged. With that being said, hey, enough of me. Okay, hey, we got some more amazing hidden gems tonight. Tonight we got some powerful folks. Okay, when I talk about impact, right, we always looking about who's making impact. These amazing hidden gems, they're going to come up here. We'll bring them up one at a time, but they are making impact. They are doing some things that, it just amazes the mind. So with that being said, all right, I'm going to bring up first to the stage, my brother, Mr. Godfrey. Look, we call him Mr. Man. Mr. Godfrey Greer. Welcome to both sides of the conversation, King. How you doing today, brother?
I'm feeling absolutely wonderful. You know why? Because we walking tall through it all. That's how we're doing it. And the name is Jeffrey John. I know we hooked on phonics. We hooked on phonics, but we just that actually opens a really good door, though. If you don't mind, I want to segue real quick. I was talking to a friend of mine, and we have another piece that we're going to come out with, and it's called "What's in a Name?" And we have gotten so hung up on the linguistic psychosis of labels that we create a narrative that we are unfamiliar with just based on a name. For instance, this brother had 3 names. I'm just use an acronym. One was John, one was Paul, one was Henry. And I said, well, man, how come you got so many names? Doesn't that kind of affect you as a... He said, well, I didn't really think about that. I said, well, why are you called John? Oh, my mother called me John because that was a name she called somebody she didn't like. And I said, well, why'd she call you Henry? She said, oh, because that's the guy who had the money. And I said, well, so you have 3 different names for 3 different identifications depending on your behavior. He said, yeah, I guess so. I said, well, we need to reflect on how that brought you up. And this dude's 50 years old at this point, and he's just now dealing with that and processing that. So
I think you just impacted me. I think that's some trauma that I just had because I'm John Henry. So I
well, we don't know. Is you Henry? And then you call John, or you're John, and then they say Henry. Now, what name did they call you when you was in trouble? John Henry.
I just thought they said John Henry when it was time for some money.
Yeah, that's right. Well, thank you so much for inviting me to your platform. I know it's been a long time. I hope to come back. Back.
No, you definitely will come back. But before we bring up Brother Thomas, I just want you to give community a quick brief about the San Francisco Recovery Theater, some of the work you're doing, and this upcoming stuff, and then we'll bring Brother Thomas up. Let the folks know about Recovery Theater.
Okay. Well, San Francisco Recovery Theater is one of few, I would dare say probably 5, in San Francisco that are considered legacy Black theater companies. That means that we have been in action in excess of 25 years. Recovery Theater specifically deals with issues and topics that are either no touch, very hot topics, and issues that oftentimes aren't discussed or only discussed in the privacy of a home. And Black theater in itself is a very sensitive subject, but we make a point of bringing these conversations to the table. We discuss and exhibit things that we have looked at, probably questioned our behavior, because the truth of the matter is we have all walked in this person's shoes, and we all have been there, if not directly, indirectly. And so in an effort to efficiently help communication between us all, that's what Recovery Theater does. Oftentimes we take people who've never been on the stage before, give them an opportunity to express themselves and provide the platform. And the results is nothing short of a miracle. This year, we're really featuring a lot of things. We've got 3 pieces rolling. We call it's an extension of our piece that was called Night at the Black. That was called Reflections in Black. We kind of did a subset known as Tales from the Fentanyl. and you can kind of figure out what that one's about. We got Tales from the Fentanyl. We just got through rapping at the Potrero Stage Theater with Thomas Simpson and Afro Solo. We did a combination show called Tales from the Fentanyl, not a 911 call. And we are in a state of emergency. So there is a 911 call that is out for us all. We need to be there. We also have our music team, which is the San Francisco Recovery Theater Players. We've been in action for quite some time. As you know, we host our annual event every year at the SF Jazz Center. Don't ask me how, but I end up with my pockets turned inside out, wondering, what am I? Anybody got a handbag? But it's an act of love. We will be this Saturday at the I Love Tenderloin community rap. They have this week is called I Love Tenderloin Week, and we will be on stage with the San Francisco Symphony and I think the Blues, somebody's. But at the Great American Music Hall. For us, it's a good venue, good opportunity, and guess what? It's a nice big place for y'all to come check us out. We'll be there from 7:30 to 8:30 on Saturday, June 21st. That's at the Great American Music Hall. Everybody got a phone? Go ahead and Google it and find out where it is. So pretty much that's where we're at in short.
Man, definitely. Well, let me go ahead without further ado and bring up another amazing art folks that we call our kin folks, our art folks. Brother Robert Thomas, welcome to both sides of the conversation, brother. We appreciate you. Happy to have you here. We gotta give you
man. How come Thomas get the applause, man?
I was trying to get to you. You got it. It's gonna be fun, community. This is gonna be a nice fun.
Jeffrey, what's your name?
Yes.
Let the man run his show. He wants to give me a hand. Let him give me a hand.
All right, Thomas. Go ahead. I can share it.
Yeah, we'll share. Okay, good. Well, it's good to be with you, brothers. I'm Thomas Robert Simpson. I run an organization called Afro Solo Theater Company. It's a company that started as a result of a birthday party I threw for myself back in 1991. I turned 39 that year. And some of you may remember that there was a TV show called 30-something. And that was my last year as a 30-something, so I wanted to go out with a bang. So I invited a number of my friends to perform for a performance party. We rented a space, had the cake, had the music. It was great. And I thought, okay, now I'll be 39, I'll be 40, and that's it. The next year, they asked me, what are you going to do for your birthday? So we had another performance party. Then the next year, another performance party. And that's when we began to think, ooh, this might make a nice event every year. In 94, we had our first festival. And the idea was to provide a space for Black people to tell our story from our point of view. And part of the impetus for me was I was working with some primarily white organizations doing Black things. And I thought, oh my God, if I wrote that, I would tell that story from a different point of view. So in order for us to do that, there has to be some kind of way or format. So Afro Solo came about as that. We do solo because thinking about the griots, one person telling a story. We started off with theater, then we did dance, then we do music, we do spoken word, the visual arts. This year we had an IA film about a piece that I worked on a while ago around urban renewal. We focus mostly on local artists to give ourselves a hand. Let's give Jeffrey a hand right now, since he felt like he missed his earlier.
Yeah, we're gonna give Jeffrey some love because he's not gonna make it without that.
Thank you so much. I feel so much better, Thomas.
We've had a special guest, like our first celebrity was Ruby Dee, and she was just phenomenal. We've had Dick Gregory, Charles Brown, Mavis Staples, but again, we focus local. And I would like to shout out to our former Mayor London Breed.
Oh, please, please, thank you.
Black community a significant amount of money to come into our community to uplift us. And that has been really wonderful for the arts community with Afro Solo. I say she kind of pulled me out of poverty. And some other artists that we were able to give them fund them in a way that they were able to kind of pay some rent. Nobody's getting rich, but we got money to buy food and pay rent, pay the telephone bill, pay the gas bill, and pay gas notes to keep you going. And that's been really, really wonderful. We are coming off of as Jeffrey said a few moments ago, talking about what I'd like to spend more time tonight on, and that is Stop, Show, and Control, the art of surviving a police stop. And when I mention that to people, their eyes usually get open because it's very personal, and everyone has a story generally. And I have seen a number of people get hurt and a number of Black people die. So I think, well, what can I do? What can the arts do to possibly help? So that's what we'll talk about tonight. Last night, we had a fantastic concert at the Commonwealth Club. It was called We've Come This Far by Music. And we had classical artists, pianist, a tenor, a soprano, and a flute player giving voice to our music and our thoughts in the classical format. So thank you for inviting me to be a part of your congregation and allowing me to share my thoughts with your congregation. And I'm ready to go.
All right. Well, I mean, not only can we give the man applause, we got to blow up the spot because you know you're gonna blow up the spot before the night is over. But I just want to say a couple things. I know you have some clips you want to show to both of you for community who don't know. Not only the work you do at Afro Solo and Mr. Mandu at the San Francisco Recovery Theater. You guys are avid community activists. You are involved, entrenched in the community. There's so much behind the work. Scenes that you all do to impact community. I just want to make sure that we uplift this and know that these two phenomenal kings are here and they do a lot for our community. We don't want to forget the arts. And I think it's so important how you all reach and pull out, you know, some of the things that we're dealing with in our community to be the poster child for other folks to see it in different lenses. I think it's so impactful. And again, yes, shout out to Mayor London Breed, shout out to Director Davis and to all of the Dreamkeeper folks, because we had an opportunity in our city to not only relive the trauma and the pain, but to uplift some of the progression and some of the change that is needed. And definitely the impact changed our community in different ways. I mean, you've seen so many things and just seeing what Afro Solo and the Recovery Theater has done to just highlight some of the things that impacted our city, some of the things that impact us culturally. It's phenomenal. So again, community, if you get an opportunity to get out this Saturday, go check it out. I know there's some other events going on, but you want to see these art events. They're very touching, they're very real, and they're coming from a lens of folks who walk that walk.
Yeah, and we shuck and jive with each other, but Jeffrey is a very important person in this community. He does a lot of things behind the scenes that we don't know about. And Jeffrey has a way of communicating using his humor to get very serious things done. So I really appreciate him and what he does and what he has done and what he's doing right now, even behind the scenes that most people don't know about. Talking to the big man.
Shucks, Thomas, you're such a swell guy. But you know what,
Brother Thomas, I'm just happy he came with a shirt on tonight. I was looking for
it. Well, we did have a heat wave, brother. We did have a heat wave. I thought about it. But on a note, I got to go back and say once again that yes, the acknowledgement of London Breed. I don't think enough can be said about the impact and the opportunity that was offered in this period of time through her Dreamkeeper program. That was the insight of her to do that created a platform of delivery for us that we hadn't seen in decades. We're still trying to work it off, but it's absolutely one of the most impactful things that has happened in years. So hats off to London forever. You always got a front seat in my show. And I think that also out of that, Thomas and I have always been connected anyway throughout history, but it really kind of exhibited the power and the necessity for us in collaboration. I have my own independent theater company, my vehicle of delivery. Thomas has his independent company and his vehicle of delivery, but we coexist in the same world. and we enjoy collaborating together, and we have an opportunity to collaborate. And this is what Black folks and brown, but we're really talking Black right now today, do need to understand and see. They need to witness how this is done and how two people can function in the same place. For years, we've been, they throw a hot dog in the middle of the tank and they say, okay, y'all go for it, and then everybody's fighting for this one little hot dog. So, but we can all eat if we work together. And I just wanted to put that out there.
Man, that's very powerful. Thank you for saying that, and I do acknowledge the collaboration with you both and other folks as well. But I think that's something that we really have to get back to. Like, how do we not compete against each other, but collaborate with each other and know that there's a win for all of us? And that's just something in our community we have to learn as a culture. As we're going through this Juneteenth weekend, as we are stepping into this independence, reciprocity is a big thing that we got to learn how to help and support each other and lift each other. And it's unfortunate that sometimes our community get it in a reactive mode because of the economy or because of the administration. We as Black community, Black culture, we have to find out a way to be intentional, to come together, work together, and uplift each other, even when the times are not forcing us to do it. So thank you too for being leaders in that department and showing the folk that it can be done and still can both be successful. But yeah, I know you got some videos up here. If y'all want to go to those, and then we can have a conversation on how y'all want to do it.
Let's see. Thomas, do you want to go first or you want me to go?
Why don't you take 10? And
Okay.
then I take 10? Yeah.
All right. I'll do this. This is kind of like a format of the show that we did, which is Tales from the Fentanyl Line, a 911 call. So first of all, there's a little short clip. Let me set this up for a minute. This is a little short clip called The Psych. And The Psych is based on the visit to a therapist. Many times in our community, we avoid taking care of ourselves. We take better care of our car than we take care of ourselves. We'll take our car in more times during the year than we take ourselves to the doctor. And whether it's physical or mental. And both are as critical. You know what they say, the brain runs the body. So why aren't you looking at your brain? And this is a conversation between a patient and a psychiatrist from our perspective. This was done at the New Roots Theater Festival, another collaboration with Rodney Jackson and them over there at SF Botco. So take a look at this and then we'll discuss on the other side.
Let's see. Let's see.
Doctor, your 2 o'clock is here.
Yes. Send him in. Oh, Bill, come on in, have a seat or, get comfortable on the couch.
Thanks, Doc. I know the routine.
Oh, my goodness.
How you doing?
Oh, full schedule as usual.
Don't complain. At least you work for yourself.
Now, speaking of work, how is work? Now, when last we spoke, you said that there were people you felt were talking behind your back and that they were developing some sort of an agenda against you.
It's still going on. Only they must think I'm on to them because they stop talking to change the subject when they see me coming. They think they're so smart. Things have been kind of messed up at work. One of the supervisors recently retired and I was next in line because of my seniority. But somehow or other, another fella got the position instead of me. Now don't get me wrong. I mean, he's a good guy and all. It's just that Well, I was next in line, you know. And so I go to the white man's, Mr. Charlie's office. He's the owner. And I asked him why I didn't get the promotion. Mr. Charlie, he didn't say anything. He just said, next time. Well, this is the third time in 5 years I've been passed over. I mean, it's starting to get to me now. I mean, it's getting to a point where I just can't take it no more. I mean, I was raised correct and proper. Every day of my life, I rise and shine and go to work and do exactly what I'm supposed to. Yet, I'm still right where I started. Just another strong back. It's like someone or something has it in for me. But God be praised, and with your help, I know that my perceptions are not what's really going on here. That I have some.
Okay. Hello? Can you hear me? Hello?
There we go. We got you.
There we go. Yeah. Well, that was just a short snippet. That was just a short snippet from the psych. I didn't want to give you too much heated stuff because, it might instigate a few things. But the whole purpose of that clip was to show how an interaction between a Black therapist and a Black patient might go. Now, this thing took a turn off into the N-word. This thing took a turn off into a behavior, paranoia, and all kinds of things, and subjects that we often talk about. The ability to show this on screen or in live provided a platform for conversation. You wouldn't believe the discussion that took place afterwards. I mean, we had a whole church group of women. The elders, the elder church sisters came, and at the end of that scene, they stood up in protest. They said, "I don't like you using that word. Don't you use that word?" And I had to, many times, I had to say, "Well, sister, this is a play, and this is a performance, and it's designed to do exactly what it did for you." And then we have a scene behind it where we resolve the N-word. And this is part of what I was talking about earlier when we get caught up in this linguistic psychosis of name calling and names. What are our names? People have been killed because somebody called them a name. And it was really important for us to examine this because we have a misinterpreted version of what we consider respect sometimes, what we call and say, well, he got to respect me, which kind of drifts over, there's survival and then there's respect. And it kind of bleeds over into a conversation that Thomas is going to have about our behavior when confronted with the police or at a police stop or positions of authority. I could go on and on. I'd like to go into it. If we talk about revolution, if we talk about rebellion, if we talk about how are we going to do this, you got to look at the practicalities. Black folks are 13% of the population in the United States. I don't care if you get up, everybody got a gun and walks around and does whatever they're going to, it's not going to happen. Okay. Our position has to be more strategic, and we do have to use allies and people that do understand the human condition, because that's really what we're talking about, is a human condition. So much to, much as we talked about before, Recovery Theater has spawned and grown out of a long line of hard work. We, did a tried, and we had a lot of failures, but you can't have a success without a failure. Many people wanted to join. We started Recovery Theater as just a plain theater company, but we couldn't get folks to show up. And half the time they were lit up. So we decided, there's some issues that we need to deal with before we can get to the next level. And that is, our self-medication process. And, we're not saying there's not reason, but you got to look at the consequences and weigh. Anyway, that is a psych. That's a little short snippet. I just wanted you guys to get a taste. I didn't want to go too deep off into it, but yeah, that's what we're doing. I want you to get ready for scenes 2, 3, 4, and 5.
And I want to thank you for even that's a short clip. And we want folks to get out there and go see the whole scenario. But I think, again, when we talk about how you are breaking barriers, and when we talk about from that perspective of the therapist and the patient, we know the stigma behind mental health in our community when it comes to Black folks. And here it is again. You guys are breaking that barrier to say, hey, you could be your authentic self and you could have a therapist and do this work. And sometimes those comfortabilities open up folks to go and get those services. So again, thank you for highlighting that and bringing that to the forefront for folks in the community who have their issues with our healthcare system and therapy and things of that nature. Again, changing the narrative and breaking these barriers is very important.
Yeah, thank you, John. Thank you. Is that 10 minutes, Thomas?
I wasn't keeping count.
Oh, well, I'll keep going then. And so furthermore, what I really have another production that's coming out on the 21st of June. We have our music version of Recovery Theater because, as you know, expression has no limitations. We have dance, we have the performance, we have song, we have music, we have athletic performance. Those are just the physical forms of expression. For years, we have been. Oh, I'm gonna have to change. I'm gonna have to relocate. My computers telling me to go on life support. So here we'll make do.
Should we go ahead? Are you going to continue?
No, I'm just going to continue for a quick minute and just say that on the 21st of June, we will be at the Great American Music Hall. Now, there's a flyer somewhere. I'm sure John and them will be able to find it and put it up.
It's up now.
Okay, great. It's important for people to come if they can. And we all need to experience these various forms of expression. I'd love to say, hey, Nikki, what's going on, baby? Our various forms of expression. And I really, really want to see our community out there. We'll be at the Great American Music Hall right there on Saturday from 7:30 to 8:30. As well as make sure you attend Mr. Simpson's Afro Solo projects. And I'm going to punt the ball to him.
Okay, great. Did you say Nikki? Is Nikki online?
Yeah, she just dropped in. Say
really?
Hi.
I can't see that. Oh, there she is. I see her. Hey there, Nikki. Nikki's our social media person.
Yes, indeedy.
Alex, a lot of everything else. Thank you for joining us, Nikki. Anyway, as I mentioned earlier, Afro Solo, we like to deal with issues that are important to the community, whether it be health, whether it be around sexual issues, whether it be racial issues. We've worked with men who spend time in jail. I've worked with women primarily in the Bayview to write their stories, which is, often deal with a lot of trauma. But one thing that's constantly on my mind living in our society is this thing about how Black people deal with the police. And as I mentioned earlier, everybody has a story, and it can be very emotional. I just get really frustrated seeing us get killed. And there are about 1,500 people killed by the police each year. And in terms of proportion to the numbers, we're very, very high. So I've been trying to come up with what can I do? What can we do? What can we do as a community to talk about some of these things? So after a lot of reading and watching a lot of documentaries and going to speeches, I've come up with what I hope could possibly be kind of like for an earthquake. When there's an earthquake, you're supposed to duck, cover, and hold. Or when you catch on fire, we're taught to stop, drop, and roll. So I've come up with, if you're stopped by the police, what 3 things can you do? Number 1, you stop. And number 2, they always want to see empty, non-threatening hands. And then the third thing is control. So I've come up with stop, show, and control. Now, the stop depending on what's going on, could be easy. Showing empty hands can be easy, but we're so used to putting our hands down, and they can put your hands up. Don't put them there. Put them up. And you're like, okay. Oh, so just sort of practicing the remoteness and just going through why this is important. One thing that we know is that there is a website that lists 750 Black people who've been killed by police the last century and a half. And that's a big number. And we can name some of those people. But I also found that there's a police website that's shown over the last 2 centuries, 24,000 police have been killed. And I don't know many Black people can name one of them. So my point is, we think of being stopped by the police from the Black point of view, and they stop and think in terms of the police and protecting themselves because their main goal is to go home. And I want all of us to go home. And in my studying, there is a website that's dedicated to police. It's about police, for police. They probably don't even know I'm on there, and they may not want me on there. But there is a survey that they did last year of 2,800 police from around the country. 70% of them had sleep problems. 50% said they had anger issues as a result of the job. About 50% had family problems. A number of them had suicidal thoughts. So when I read that, I was like, oh my God. We tend to think of police getting up, going to job, being kind of together. But the reality is, when you are stopped by police, you're not quite sure what you're going to get. So in some ways, for me, it makes more sense to be on your best behavior. Now, when a police is called or when something happens, 3 things need to happen before the police, from my experience and my watching is, and people can talk and give different opinions, need to happen before they can really pay attention to you. Part of their job, number 1, is they want to feel safe. Number 2 is they want to feel like they have some control. And 3 is they want to be able to assess the situation. And then they can deal with you. And I've seen situations where people have called the police and gotten into the argument with the police. I called you. Why are you asking me questions? I called you. It's because they hadn't gone through those steps where the police feel secure. We've also seen situations where, and I want to show the video of the senator that some people may have seen I guess it's been 2 weeks now, just last week, where the senator, I don't want to say interrupted, but there was one of Trump's people who was speaking, and he felt like he had a question to ask, and he wound up being manhandled. And I've seen that happen so many times. It's just surprising that it happened to him as a senator. And it's because, number 1, something happened, and then the police want to be in control. They want to be safe. And so can we just watch a little bit of that? And we can talk about it afterwards. Because as we look at it, one thing that I like to look at is sort of see, what can we learn from this? What can we get from this? And there is some sound. This is in Washington. There's a California senator wanting to say something to one of the people from Trump's organization who's making a speech. They take him out, they push him out. And once they get him out, that's them trying to get that control for their safety, they would say, and for his. They get him down, they put him down on the ground, they put handcuffs on him. And this is kind of shocking to see this happen to someone like that. He's a Latino guy. And I'm sure he never thought like something would happen to him, like that would happen to him. So I would come in and say, okay, what happened? Why did it happen? What could be done differently? So he didn't have to go through that. And a lot of people have different opinions. The other video I want to show is one that's, if we'll try to cut it before the bad thing happens, but it's a situation where a Black woman is in a car She is in her car, but she's been accused of taking something from a drugstore. And there's a police talking to her, and there's a police in front, and she is not wanting to get out of her car. She notices that the police in front of her has a gun, and she begins to ask him, "You gonna shoot me? You gonna shoot me?" Somehow or other, the car begins to roll, and he does shoot her, and she is killed, along with a child. So if we roll that, hope it's not too emotional for people, but this is reality. There are like 50,000 police stops per day around the country. And thank goodness, most of them happen without a big problem. As she's getting ready to roll that. So as part of what I do are these workshops. So we don't have access to sound.
Hold on, let me find out what's going on with the sound.
Anyway, if there is, anyway, so the workshop that we go through is like part of the training is the 3 steps. What do you do before you stopped? What do you do during the stop? And what one could do after the stop. So of course, the before the stop is the training to kind of like talk about things. And one of the things to talk about is that a lot of contact with people and police is through police stops on the street, on the road. And what police mentioned at one of the workshops I went to is they're looking for what's out of the ordinary. So if you're going down the street and you don't, and one of your car lights are off, okay, that's what he's talking to her, trying to get her to get out of the car, and she's not wanting to get out of the car. We see this police here has a gun. She asks him, what, you gonna shoot me? You gonna shoot me? And I don't know if she accidentally put the accelerator on or what, but he winds up shooting her with the baby. So my thought was, one lawyer said, I can help you if you're in jail. I might be able to help you if you're in the hospital, but there's nothing I can do for you if you're in your grave. So I would say, hey, lady, it's better to get out of the car, get handcuffed, even go to jail than to be shot. Of course, these things happen and we don't think it's going to go that far. But I was thinking about cars. So if a police see a light that's not working, that gives them a reason to say, okay, I'm going to check this out. Then they go up to the car. And when they go up to the car, they're often trying to smell something or seeing what's in it. And if they see something else, that could be another thing. So these little bitty things, it's like I go through is are your lights working? Now think about like when you get on the airplane, before the pilot takes off, they go through that checklist to be sure all systems are go. Periodically, we need to go around our cars and be sure all the lights are working. I say once the police stop you, the 30 seconds or so before they get from their car to your car, what can you do? Number one, I say, is try to take a few breaths to relax yourself. I say smile. And there's been some research that says a person who's smiling seems more approachable, threatening than someone who's not. If you can, get the person's name or number and address them, officer such and such. And I say speak first. And the reason I say speak first is I've talked to police officers and they're kind of scared. So they don't know what mood that you're in. By speaking first, they get an idea of what your timbre of your voice, are you angry, are you mad, are you going to be this, that, or the other? And then we practice these things. And then we just kind of go on from there. But the idea is our workshops that we're going to be doing one this week at a place over in the Bayview. Then we're going to do a couple in the Western Addition. And if someone has a group of young people or older people who might want to go through this training with us, they can call me and we can possibly set that up. I've said a whole lot. You guys can react or, react to what I've said. I don't know if anybody else has have made reactions. Like I said, I'm not perfect and this is a process, but I'd like to see everybody go home and not wind up giving the officer the opportunity to become the judge, the juror, and the executioner in 15 seconds.
Yeah, wow. I mean, it's very touching. I mean, I'm sorry about the audio issues. We're trying to figure out why the audio. But I think it's something that we really have to tackle in our community. There was a big push when Police Chief Bill Scott was in charge, trying to build community and with law enforcement. I think the gap has already widened farther apart. We had a few incidents in San Francisco, some excessive force maybe issues and some things of that nature. But it's this dynamic with police that we struggle with, and I'm always trying to be a part of the change, and I've always tried to be a part of those community meetings and engage with them. And I still think it's about respect, and I think I get it. Some officers are nervous and afraid coming to our community, but it goes back to stereotype and understanding the community. And I think one of the biggest issues is how do we get real community policing to happen, and how do we get community police from the community? And one of the things I talked to Chief Scott when he was here in San Francisco was some of the old rules that apply to becoming a police officer need to be changed and reviewed, because minor infractions will keep folks from getting into the force. And I think if we have to actually work with the community, I think the outcomes and the dynamics between police and community engagement will change. How much, I don't know. But because of that tension, because of that fear, and because of the trauma, and this is why I say
things that are happening.
The experience have, a traffic stop leads to somebody not going home, and that. We had Sandra Bland, you got George Floyd. The young people, when it comes to dealing with the police, is the total opposite. It's just like, hey, you gonna shoot me today, and it's some kind of dialogue that needs to happen. But I think the engagement and the respect, it always starts off, and it is a stereotype, and I don't know how you break that down in a police department. But I've noticed and doing the work and the service with the community, and I've done those ride-alongs and different things of that nature, and I noticed in other communities, the way the police approach cars and stuff in different communities is totally different in our community, and that's the first thing that we got to change. And I think a lot of it is just respect, how we go about it. Yes, there's crime and things that happen in our communities, but it is a respect thing of how we make that engagement. And it can't just be, I'm upset, you didn't listen to my respond to my order, and now I'm going rogue.
And I talked to people in the community. Some people have told me, Thomas, you need to do that. It's not going to make any difference whatsoever. Police are going to do what they want to do. And I've had police officers to tell me, look, Thomas, sometimes black officers get treated worse in the black community than they do in the white community because they're looked at as traitors. For me, it's communication.
Yes, I'd like to add a little bit here. And I think that the context, first of all, we all have to understand and believe and know that knowledge is power. Flat out, that's a fact. Knowledge is power. Number one, with Senator Padilla, that was Kristi Noem who was speaking. Senator Padilla did walk in. He had a shirt on that said U.S. Senator. He was there to meet with them, but their time ran over. And so he went up to see what they were talking about. And Kristi Noem was basically lying on the stand and telling people she was protecting California from the governor and from the mayor, and that's why they're going to bring in the military and the National Guard and all of that. So naturally, he had something to say about that, and that's when he was cut down and brought down. So, let's keep things in context. Also, we need to know that the process of a police stop, or the process of getting arrested, or the process of an interaction with an officer. I did 20 years of crisis intervention training with first responders. That's the police, the highway patrol, the fire department, the bridge people, the patrol for the jumpers and all of that. And there's always an acronym. It's called ATOM. And when you're stopped, they always go through this process, or they should. And the thing is that you should know, and that is, they're going to approach you and ask you to do something. Mr. Henry, give me your driver's license, please. So he's asking you for your driver's license, right? Mr. Henry says, well, I don't have to give you my driver's license. And the officer said, well, we're making a stop, and I'm telling you, give me your driver's license. Otherwise, things are going to go south. And Mr. Henry's going to say, well, my rights tell me I don't have to give you my driver's license. Okay, so now you got a mano thing going on. We bypassed the police stop. We're into, who's going to tell who what to do. And we're gone from ask to tell to now we're into O, which is order. And the police officer is going to say, I'm ordering you, John, give me your driver's license. And John's going to say, well, I need you to get a sergeant. I'm not here. I don't have to give you my driver's license. Well, then he's going to go to M, which is make. Now, you know what make means. Hands down, the handcuffs, face in the mud, all of that. But right or wrong, personalities change. You got some good police officers, got a lot of knuckleheads. Got some good community folks out there, got a lot of knuckleheads. Two knuckleheads run into each other, what are you going to have? A knucklehead sandwich. But it's important for us as the community to know the process, know what's going on, know what they're supposed to do, and to know when they don't do that. If they don't process and they don't follow the Adam procedure, ask, right, tell, order, and make, they're out of sequence. That's like not reading you your Miranda rights. So you have legitimacy there. Anyway, I just wanted to put that out there so that we understand that it's critical that we inform ourselves. When we were way back when y'all were nothing but a twinkle in your daddy's eye, we used to be trained to go on the civil rights marches, with Martin Luther King and Abernathy, all of them. We were little kids, and they would teach you. You would have to go to this class. So they would show you how to sit when the horses come. They would show you how to cover your head when the police come. Cover your head. Don't let them hit you in the head with the baton. Your body can be repaired. And I mean, it was a whole process that took place. And, so don't think that you're just going to look at a video on YouTube and then run out there and, you're ready to go and confront the police. That's not how it works. You have to be knowledgeable. You have to be knowledgeable. Yeah.
One of the things that lawyers say is, and there are a lot of know your right workshops and classes. And if one is going to go on the YouTube, I would go to the ACLU. They have a number of videos about knowing your rights, but also is knowing when to use your rights and how to use your rights is important also.
And that's Jeffrey, go ahead, Thomas.
Go ahead. I was through.
I just want to say to Jeffrey's point, I think that's a great point, but I still think that we need to advocate more through the police commissions. And I'm going to tell you why, because I agree. If you have to give the police officer your ID, right? They don't know who's in the car. But one thing that I do want to see, and I've talked to Matt Haney and some of the senators, Senator Wiener, about, when we talk about policing, okay? The technology that they have in these vehicles now, when they pull a car over, they know who the registered owner is, right? They don't know if the owner is driving the car. So I get that part. Let me see your ID. But some of the extra stuff that they're doing about insurance and, registration and all that, I think that's bogus. And we need to change that, because I did those ride along. As soon as they pull the car over, the DMV registration pulls up. The DMV, who the car's insurance to, is right there. So how do we eliminate that process? Because sometimes that get hostile, right? Okay, you don't know who the person is in the car. Hey, let me see your ID to verify. Are you the registered owner or not? Okay, if you're not the registered owner, then hey, why are you driving this person's car? Whatever, right? But it's a lot of times when you get pulled over, you pull out your registration, they see it in the car, this person's registered, the DMV shows, because DMV will send you a letter if you don't have insurance, right? So they know, it all pulls up. This is the insurance, all of this. So why are you coming to my car asking me, well, let me see your registration and your insurance, right? It just don't make sense to me. If you're going to write me a ticket, just the ticket information, the insurance information ain't on the ticket, the registration information, So that's one thing that they got to get rid of.
Well, that's true, but I don't think they're going to get rid of it, because that's built and baked into some of the police culture. What I'm saying, and I think where Thomas is coming from, you can correct me, is that if we're familiar with Adam, if we're familiar with how to protect ourselves during a police stop, you're going to see a lot earlier if this thing is going to go south. You know, they take your license, they go back, they run it, and then he comes back and say, well, you ain't got no insurance. Well, you know you have insurance. You got it right there. So you already know that you got somebody who's trying to go rogue and he's getting ready to go rogue. You hit that live Facebook, start recording all your stuff, put that on blast. You know, you are prepared for documentation, and you're prepared for witnessing, and you're prepared to save yourself. Because in the end, that's the only thing that's going to do it. I mean, we can't change police culture.
And there are a couple other issues that come up that I don't know the answer to, and I've talked to different lawyers about it. If you're in the car and you happen to have something in there that you know maybe that you're not supposed to have, and they often ask you, you got anything in your car that you shouldn't have? Should you tell them or let them find it? And what I've found, if it's a gun, they get really angry if they find the gun you haven't told them that's a gun. But that's a choice someone has to make. And I did talk to a lawyer about that. Well, I need to say this. I'm not giving any kind of legal advice here. I'm just giving information. If you have legal concerns, you need to be sure you talk to someone who's an expert, a lawyer, someone, because I'm not giving any legal advice. We're just passing out information that I've kind of gleaned. And different people have different amounts of information.
I just learned when I get pulled over, I don't say nothing. I just give them my registration, license, insurance, and they get mad. Where you going? I just sit there.
Where you going? Where you been? Who do you know? And those are some of those questions that are just kind of being
because they get you in trouble. So you start saying, I just came from dinner. Oh, well, were you drinking? So I just don't say that. I say, here's my license registration. Write me a ticket for whatever you say I did wrong. We'll deal with it in court. But I think we got the audio up for this Tyreek Hill clip. Let's see if we can get this up real quick because we got to get moving here.
Okay, all right.
Angelique, let's see if we can get this moving here.
Today, body cam footage from that traffic stop of a Miami Dolphins football player is out, and it turns out 3 players found themselves having run-ins with cops that day. Tyreek Hill was stopped by officers and forced to the ground, and when 2 of his teammates stopped to see what was going on, one of them also ended up in handcuffs, prompting many to ask if the cops went too far. Here's Amber Cogliano.
It's the just-released police body cam footage from the traffic stop involving Miami Dolphins superstar Tyreek Hill.
Hey, don't knock on my window like that, man.
Things go wrong from the first moments of the encounter.
Why don't you have your seatbelt on? Don't knock on my window. Why don't you have your seatbelt on? Knock on my window like that, though.
As one cop walks away, you can hear him tell his colleague it's Tyreek Hill. Hill is ordered out of the car, or they say they'll break the window.
Give me up and we'll break the window. Get out of the car.
He yanks Hill out of his $300,000 McLaren sports car and puts his knee on Hill's back. We showed the video to former NYPD detective David Sarney, now a professor at the John Jay College of Criminal Justice.
How did both sides fail here?
Tariq should have been more compliant, just kept the window open.
Okay.
Keep your window down.
Then it got aggressive. You could see the actions of the police went a little bit over the line for a summons for excessive speed at that point.
Hill was ordered to sit.
I just had surgery on my knee. Bro. I'm not going to tell you again to leave.
Hill's teammate Calais Campbell saw what was going on and tried to intervene. He was also placed in handcuffs, but just for a few minutes. The team is expressing support for the players. We are saddened by the overly aggressive and violent conduct. It is both maddening and heartbreaking to watch the very people we trust to protect our community use such unnecessary force and hostility towards these players. But the police union says Hill was not immediately cooperative. It is always best to obey lawful police orders and complain later. Appearing on CNN last night, Hill tried to explain why he was reluctant to lower the car window.
If I let my window down, like people walking by, driving by, they're gonna notice that it's me and they're gonna start taking pictures, and I didn't want to create a scene at all.
Gail King says, in her opinion, there was fault on both sides.
I feel very differently from what I heard yesterday compared to what I see today. I think they both should have handled it differently.
Give me up and we'll break the window. Get out of the car.
That's good
Tyreek
enough.
Hill's rep says they are considering legal action.
So what we would do is we just sort of pick that apart to see what happened and what could have happened. But we also see that it could have been very explosive. That could have been a very, very, very bad scene.
Oh, definitely. I mean, it's still like, again, it's the respect, right?
Yeah.
On both parties, you got to roll down. But when they say it's best to cooperate, like the law doesn't say we have to be nice to each other, but we should respect each other, And I just think, see, and this is why I think about what our police need, right? So the guy already identifies Tyreek Hill. He knows a football player. Okay, you know what I mean? It's like, where you going now? You know he got money. You know he got a lawyer. Why are you doing too much? Write the ticket and move on. You see what I'm saying? But it's the ego, right? It's, you didn't listen to my commands. And this is what we deal in the community where a person don't have maybe the financial backing on the lawyers. And it's tragic. It's gunfire.
My view, some police officers come to us with an I am God attitude. Do what I say or else. And in those situations, one has to make a choice. And what I would say is let them do what they're going to do, then meet them at the court route, try to get a lawyer, meet them at the court tomorrow. Another thing that I say is that we all carry a driver's license. I think it would be all great if we all had a lawyer's card in our pocket also. So if something does happen, we have someone to call, because I've seen so many times, I'm going to call my lawyer. I know my rights. And the police is like, oh, who's your lawyer? Oh, or I know my rights. Oh, you know your rights? Tell them to me. Just being a little sarcastic about it. Because a lot of things we don't know. And then you get those emotions going a little bit out of control. So the more we can be prepared for something, like famous basketball player don't just get up in the morning and go out on the floor and shoot 30 points. I mean, they're working day after day after day after day to get to that point. Okay, I've talked enough. Let me be quiet.
Good.
Well, go ahead. Duffy. I just want to say, because I think that's all of the videos. Again, what Afro Solo is doing, what the San Francisco Recovery Theater doing, it's starting a conversation, right? It's opening up that dialogue, and I think it's so important right now, especially what's going on in our country. How do we have this dialogue about all of the things that's taking place? When you talk about AI, when you talk about the immigration status, when you talk about what's going on with ICE, right? It's these platforms that you all provide that get the conversation going, right? And then it's how do we connect the community to get involved with the conversation so that we can move it forward. I mean, it's the same thing that we're trying to do here. It's like, how do we bring people together to have a conversation? It's both sides of the conversation. I hate to plug it, but it's both sides of the conversation.
Right. But we've had psychologists like Dr. Brenda Wade and police officers at our events. And like you said, the different points of view is really important to hear.
Yeah.
Man, definitely.
I think that we have exampled what we are about. I mean, through video, through performance, through role playing, through questions, through documentation, we are looking at and breaking down and analyzing what do we need to do as an individual to elicit change. And that is how we're going to make change as a community. Each one of us have to become a powerful instrumental tool. And that doesn't mean reading 2 sentences and, getting up there hollering and screaming. That means really understanding the nuances of a character, a personality, as well as your legal rights. So with that, I say that Recovery Theater is here. We're going to continue to do what we've been doing. I got a million other clips. I'm going to come back to see Mr. Henry. We're gonna get in deep. We're gonna get deep.
And you come back to blow up the spot, man. I know you come to blow up the spot, man. I already know you come to blow the spot up.
I'm coming to do the spot, baby. We coming to do it.
Well, I want to just say this because I know we got to get out here. The time's getting tight. I want to get out here this Saturday and try to make it to the event because I know I got 3 events I got to get to this weekend. But I want to make it out there, and I want to encourage the community. We're going to put the information up there again, running across the street. It's so important to support the arts and what they're doing. the San Francisco. I think I went to the Night of the Black Hawk, a bunch of. I mean, these events are not only emotional, they pull you through. So you have to go out there and experience it because it's so real, you know. And when we look at the day-to-day life stuff that we go through, what they're doing, Afro Solo, when you have these acts and the music and the plays and the art, it just brings out a definitely emotional connection. And throughout the night, you go through this emotional high and low, but you walk away, you like, wow, we've come a long way. And I know we're going through another process in this country. We're going through another process in the city and county of San Francisco. We're going through a change in this state. And it starts with acts like this. And we don't want to miss out on the arts. So community, get out there, go check out the Love final finale of the Love of the Tenderloin Week. It's important. All I can say is you got to go out and experience it. But with that being said, Brother Thomas and Jeffrey, I want you all to just leave the community with some parting words and, give them some final things to walk away as we close out tonight, because I think it's so important that we leave our community every show with something, and then definitely give out any shots out to any folks that's supporting the movement of what you guys are doing, any team, just so that they can get their acknowledgement tonight on this as well.
Go ahead, mister.
Well, I would say right now where I'm at today, I'm thinking of everything that's going on, and we've got to keep a clear eye. We got to keep a sober mind, and we've got to be in tune with our own needs. And with that, I would say, be nice to yourself. Be compassionate. Be considerate to yourself, because then you can be considerate and compassionate to someone else. And we don't deliver all that baggage that we got carrying around in the back of our head. You know, someone asks you for a cup of coffee. No, just take a beat. Let's spread some love instead of some dissension. That would be my word for the day.
Great. I would say we've come a long ways. We've come a mighty long ways. People say we have a ways to go, but we've come a long ways. And kind of tagging on to what Jeffrey was saying, I think it would be good if we gave each other a little bit more grace because we have been through a lot and we're going through a lot, and we can use the experiences of how we got from where we were to where we are now to push us forward. And a little grace, a little love, a little caring will carry us a long way.
Wow. Very powerful words from both you brothers. Again, community, these two magnificent men of our community, not only the work that they're doing with their companies, but the back end work that they're doing and advocating for community is just above and beyond. I've been on a number of calls with Jeffrey talking about mental health stuff, brain stuff. I mean, he's everywhere. Every time I pop up, I see him somewhere, but he's advocating for our community. And that's what it takes. And I think Mr. Simpson said it best, that we all have to do our part. And it takes every one of us in the community, young and old, to play their part and do something to push us forward. It's going to be a muddy road that we're going to have to walk to get to the levels where we need to be. This transition is real, but we got to do it as a community. We have to do it as folks in harmony and love, with empathy, and all of the great things that we need to be successful. And I think earlier, the most important is working collaboratively, and they are two icons that are doing it from their level. And shout out to Backo Theodos as well. They're working, they're doing it, and they are a small portion of the bigger portion of things that we can do as community if we have aligned together. I know it's been a long night. We've been here. We appreciate it. It's hard to get these two brothers to come on. I think I've been chasing them for about a good year, so they come on.
Yeah, you have, brother. You have.
But they here tonight, and that's what it's all about, community showing up. And get out there if you want to get tickets. Again, the information will be on the screen. Check them out on Facebook. We'll be sharing the flyer after the show on all of our social media handles. Check out what they're doing. Some amazing, amazing work, especially with this crisis of fentanyl and substance abuse in our community. Jeffrey Greer is doing an amazing job to highlight the crisis that's going on, not only in San Francisco, but across the country. So again, brothers, thank you for coming on both sides of the conversation tonight and representing the work that you all are doing. And we just appreciate you all, and I'm looking forward to connecting. And I'll see you all in community soon.
Thank you
very, very much.
All right, and Mr. Greer, I'm going to give you a round of applause before you leave. I got to give him a round of applause before you get out of here.
I love you, love.
Man, we love you, brother. Thank you for all you do. And thank you for uplifting the Men's Health Month and mental health continuously throughout the year. So important. So thank you all. And we're looking forward to catching up with y'all soon in the community.
Absolutely. Thank you, John. Keep doing what you're doing, brother.
Good
Keep
night.
doing what you're doing.
All right, man. Good night. I see y'all, brothers. All right, community. There you have it. The San Francisco Recovery Theater, Afro Solo, two amazing brothers that are doing what they do to make impact. When we talk about changing the narrative, that's what changing the narrative look like. Folks, bridging the gap, bringing an opportunity for community to have the conversation and do the work that they need to do. It's been a long night. It's been great. This Hidden Gem segment, that's what it's all about, highlighting these gems. These are the gems of the community. Get out and support them. We'll run the information across the screen before tonight. Our Educational Thursday. Hey, all my professional folks out there, we're looking for some folks to come on and do a PowerPoint presentation. I know some folks right now are going through job transition, folks going through financial changes. We need some of our financial folks to come on and do a PowerPoint presentation, how folks can save, how they can leverage some of their finances during this economic challenge that we are having across the country. So we're looking for some Educational Thursday presenters to come on. All you got to do is sign up. If you got a PowerPoint presentation, you got an opportunity you want to share with community, get them connected to what you're doing. I received a call today from a sister that's going to come on and talk about some travel stuff, how to get some extra income coming in, so things of that nature while we're going through this job loss and this crazy cuts that's coming up. So that's it. And then our Sunday conversation, I know it's been a while since we have a conversation. So many things going on, but it's some things that we want to tackle in the community. So I'm hoping that as we kick off July, we can get back to have some real important conversations, because we know as job loss change and the economic change impacts our community, things start to increase. We're starting to see an increase in domestic violence. We're starting to see human trafficking on a higher rise than normal. And these are some of the conversations that we want to have with our community to make sure that our young people are protected and they know how to get resources to deal with some of the challenges that's impacting our community. And that is very important. Again, this is Men's Health Month. All month, we're going to continue to uplift men's health, mental health, and we're going to continue to do the things that we need to do to support and encourage men to go see the doctor, go get checked up, and do the right things to change their eating, their health. I'll be out hiking on the hills. I'm going out there. I'm going to hike in support to make sure that the men in the community know that I'm a part of this. I don't want to just put out information about men's health and not be a part of it. So I will be out there on the trails with the brothers. And shout out to the amazing 510 hikers for their hike that they had this past weekend, bringing the brothers around the Bay Area together to do some men's health and doing some hikes. So we appreciate that. With that being said, it is time for us to get ready to close out tonight. It's long. The bishop been here. I've been up. I don't know. I was half like where the time go? It's 9 o'clock. All right. Hey, but before I gotta go, we gotta wrap this thing up with a benediction from the bishop, because every great show has to have a recap, because it's so important. We have to know. Maybe you tuned in late. I got to tell you what was going on. Well, tonight, community. If you missed out, first, we had an amazing sister who came on, Dr. Bradford, come on to talk about the Black CSU, okay? She is creating, leading the way of young visionaries who want to be a part of the civic process, to organize, to collaborate, and bring change to our education. We know our education has some issues. We know we need our community to show up to the board meeting. We know the curriculum needs to be changed, but the only way we get changed is the young people. Think about the civil rights movement. The change came with the young people. Today, with the CSU, this is the new change. The young people can change the process. They can change the economic and the economic resources, information that's needed from an educational level. So, hey, the Black CSU, they're going to do their part. We got to get the young people and the elders to engage, bridge the gap. I don't know. These young, phenomenal people that they're talking about that are leading the way, they will be the change. Then you have the two phenomenal art. When we talk about the arts, it's so many things that has happened in art. We talk about San Francisco Recovery Theater. We talk about Afro Solo, two brothers that are bringing real life experiences to different platforms to help bring out the message of what's going on in our communities. Sometimes it's through music. Sometimes it's through acting. Sometimes it's through the art. Whatever it is, We're trying to break the barrier to have the conversation. These difficult conversations that impact our community. When we talk about substance abuse, oh yeah, it's impacting our communities. When we look at the fentanyl use, the fentanyl death, when we look on our corners and we see the folks out there struggling, how do we as community come together to make that change, to uplift the people? Well, that's what they're doing at San Francisco Recovery Theater. That's what they're doing at Afro Solo, bringing the conversation. We talk about police engagement. We know there's some issues in our community when we talk about policing. Is it really community policing? Is it really policing? Or is it folks abusing their power? Or is it a culture shift that needs to happen because something is not happening when it comes to policing in our community? We know what took place with George Floyd. We know what took place with Breonna Taylor. We know so many cases that's been impacted by police brutality. Now more than ever, as the cases rise, there's more police shooting now than before. There's an increase of excessive abuse from police officers. There's something going on that's very hostile in our country. When we look at what's going on with ICE, when we look at what happened this past weekend, the weeks prior, with the protests and the police and the National Guard being brought out, and all of these things that we never seen in our time, there's an aggression, there's an assault on the citizens of this country. I don't know if it's the police. I don't know if it's the military. I don't know if it's the National Guard, but there's a change in culture that has to happen when it comes to interacting with the citizens of this country, with the people in our community. We know we secondhandly, firsthandly deal with this daily, and we have to make the change. There's some policing change that need to happen, but we must come to the table. They must come to the table, and we must be willing to talk about it. But it starts with folks like Afro Solo that brings the conversation, bring the people together to not only educate, but equip our community to deal with what's impacting us. With that being said, thank you all for tuning in for another amazing Hidden Gem show. Hey, we here uplifting our people. You'll see me, the Bishop. I'm around. With that being said, good night, people. Have a great one. Be safe out there.